Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah.
Vil I høre os? Vi må sige det.
Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Station agent been going up. Volume isn't my middle name. Still see me in that order book. Need to learn to trade the patience, and maybe then you'll start to cook. But still, I swear I'm always chasing. I'm dumb as fuck, but don't blow it up. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Station agent been going up. Volume isn't my middle name. Still see me in that order book. Need to learn to trade the patience, and maybe then you'll start to cook. But still, I swear I'm always chasing. I'm dumb as fuck, but don't blow it up. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Station agent been going up. Volume isn't my middle name. Still see me in that order book. Need to learn to trade the patience, and maybe then you'll start to cook. But still, I swear I'm always chasing. I'm dumb as fuck, but don't blow it up. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved. Station agent been going up. Volume isn't my middle name. Still see me in that order book. Need to learn to trade the patience, and maybe then you'll start to cook. But still, I swear I'm always chasing. I'm dumb as fuck, but don't blow it up. Jupiter, blasting out of the universe. Need to loosen up, but deep in my pursuit of the cat that. Am I cool enough? No, probably not, I'm still moving up. That's a money verb while sitting at the computer, and yeah. Mission moves along. Gonna make it easy for them all to come and get involved.
All right. Hello, JM to all the cloud men out there. Drop a little JM if you're with me here in YouTube, in Twitter land. Let me bring up the real real sauce behind this show. Soju and FP are here as well. How you fine gentlemen feeling?
Good. Wonderful.
Really
Okay, I believe it. There it is. It's got to stay hydrated, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There it is. All right, folks.
AMA Tiger, that Rattler. We did this every single time.
Tiger Rabbit.
All right, folks. This is a lesson from Soju and FP to drink and live stream. Don't drink and drive. Drink and live stream if you can. If people are ready for liftoff in the chat, let me know. Let's see how the chat is feeling over here on the Sanctum release. It is Sanctum week. Yeah, is what people are saying. People are saying smoke and watch as well. Folks, this is a family-friendly show. So outside of these two alcoholics that I'm with, we will be not talking about any other weird things that happen here. All right, people are feeling amped and ready. LFG, let's kick this off. This is a special edition called Liftoff that we're doing just for the cloud men of the Sanctum universe. Hello and welcome. We got a banger of a call lined up for you today. I, of course, am Kash Donda. I lead the Uplink working group over at the Jupiter Exchange DAO, which is how I got roped into this. And with me are first Soju, the lady killer himself. For anyone who doesn't know Soju, you mind introducing yourself, buddy?
Introducing myself, yeah. I'm Soju. I do DAO and comms and LFG and all the fun stuff at Jupiter. And it's been great interacting with the DAO and interacting with the community to like ship all these launching projects alongside everyone else. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Number one RZR in Singapore.
Number one.
Number one RZR in Singapore, in all of APAC, arguably also borderline insane, folks. His Telegram is in his bio on Twitter. If you have a problem with Jupiter, you can reach out to him directly. I don't know why he does it. Shout out to Joe Takayama in the chat, by the way. And then, of course, we have FP. FP, I think most people know you, but just in case they don't, can you give yourself a little intro here as well?
Yeah. Hi, I'm FP. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sanctum. Yeah.
Simple. Easy enough.
Is Evan referring to him or just to confirm?
Yeah,
I'm on the right? I'm not on the left, right?
Evan knows me.
Stay tuned till the end of the call. We'll be doing a poll of who has more Riz, Soju, or FP. Only time will tell, along with a few other things, folks. So here's what the agenda is going to look like today. We're going to start off by talking about the LFG launch along with the Alpha Vault. That's going to be going live in, I think, about an hour and a half from now, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, right after this call, all of that's going to go live. So we'll answer some common questions there. Then we're going to go into all the questions that might be around the airdrop and Earnestness. Can I get an earnest in the chat? Earnestness has been like the word all over my goddamn Twitter feed. Thank you very much for that. Very excited to answer some common misconceptions, do a few fact checks, help people better understand what's coming through, because transparency is key. I see the earnest and the earnesty Ernie in the chat. I'd love to see it. And then finally, we'll end up with some what's next for Sanctum and some breaking news. We're going to do a little Q&A if there's some time at the end. So folks, if you have questions, drop them into the chat. Srijani, I'm just springing this on you. If you could just capture some of those questions in our private chat, that would be great. And then we can address those at the very end of the call. But I think people are feeling good, tired of listening to me talk. So let's jump right on into it. Psych, take that back immediately. There's one other thing to mention here, which is we are doing a Twitter thread bounty about the cloud launch. So pay attention to everything that we talk about, maybe take some notes, revisit the recording, then write your own thread that helps explain some of the points that we're making here around how LFG works, around the earnestness and the airdrop, help inform the greater populace, and you will be eligible for a $500 reward as well over on Super Team Earn. You can scan this QR code to go check that out right now. Okay, now that actually, hopefully there's not another slide. Nice. Okay, we can actually get into it. I'm right this time around. Folks, this slide deck was done 4 minutes ago. How long ago was it done? Soju recently, we'll call it. But I assure you that literally weeks, if not months, if not years of thinking has gone into everything around this token drop. And that's what we're going to start to clear up today. So let's start with the first fact check of the day. I think there may be some people with this conception that the Alpha Vault and the LFG Launchpad are really designed to help whales more than anybody else. Let's do a little fact check on this, Soju. Is this true?
Well, of course we don't think so, right? And I think the Sanctum's launch was designed in a way to not make it too attractive for the Alpha Vault. So the reason why people have this misconception is that in the past, the Alpha Vault got a very good deal. And the allocation in the Alpha Vault was weighted by how much you deposited. So you had people who came in with $100 million, you put $100 million in, you only buy like $100,000, but because you had $100 million, you got most of the allocation. And me and FP spent like weeks talking about this on live streams, on Twitter, everywhere, and we sort of came up with a way. So these are the details. It's the ones on the slide. The DRM pool will start at 1 million and at 500 million. So instead of doing a very narrow curve, which what other teams have done in the past on LFG, we're doing a very wide curve. And the Alpha Vault will sort of come in and they'll buy from $1 million up, depending on how much the USDC is deposited. So if the vault sells out and has like 10 million USDC deposited, the starting price would be 27 cents?
27 and 0.8. Yeah.
Which would mean that the cost of the vault will be 15 cents. So Alpha Vault depositors, you always know that you will not have to pay more than 15 cents a cloud. And the idea is you will get about 50% discount onto spot.
Slightly less than a 15.
Slightly less than
46%. Yeah, by the year.
That's right. Yeah.
Just
Fact checker.
Live fact checks here from FP make this even better here. So just to confirm for everyone, in case you're not familiar, when Soju's talking about the curve, he's talking about the liquidity distribution for when the token launches. And so this is a very novel curve mechanism, in particular, because if you're able to buy the beginning point of the curve, like the Alpha Vault will most likely end up doing, you're going to get a $1 million FTV, which, if I'm not mistaken, FP is substantially lower than what the VCs and whoever else you guys have fundraised from, right?
That's correct. So we sold back in 2021. We sold some at 50 mil and some at 60 million valuation. 60 is more than one, and so but of course, we're starting at one. It doesn't mean, it really depends on where the vault ends up.
Yeah.
Right now, if the vault only fills a little bit, then yes, you will get sort of that price. If the vault fills completely, you will not get a 1 million price. So it really depends on how much of the vault fills up. But the important thing is that the maximum price that you will pay is 15 cents, which is 150 million FDV. Yeah. So that will be like the anchor if it fills. But you may get a lower price, but you will not get a higher price.
Yeah.
If it fills. Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that you got to say that, FP. I'd be very surprised if the Alpha Vault doesn't fill up myself. I unfortunately don't have enough money to fill up the Alpha Vault, or otherwise I might. But of course, go do your own financial research. We're not trying to tell you to buy the token or use any of these things. Make your own decisions, but hopefully this helps bring some transparency as well.
For us, we really try to make the vault not a no-brainer, right?
And I think we're going to dive into that more.
Let's go next. Yeah.
All right. So, well, the next fact check I think is a little bit different, but this is another one here. Only the team gets to sell. Everyone else is locked up. I'm going to go ahead and guess this is also not true. Soju, could you talk a little bit about how the dynamic airdrop is going to work here?
Yeah. So as we posted last Friday, we actually launched this new thing called Dynamic Airdrop. People assume, I think, on social media that I can only claim after 14 days or I can only claim after 180 days. But actually what we designed here is that you can claim at any time you want. You can claim immediately at launch. You can claim 7 days later. You can claim at the very end 14 days later. And you will get the bonus amortized. So for example, if you claim on the 7-day mark, you will get half a bonus. So I think me and FP agreed here that we don't want to hold anyone hostage. We want to let people claim and sell if they want to. But we also want to make sure that to sort of filter out the long-term aligned folks and make sure that they're rewarded for it. And I think Earnestness, something that FP will dive into more, will be locked up longer because they are the ones who are really believe in the mission and really want to bring forward what the vision is in the long run. Yeah.
So to be clear, anything here that people, so some people are going to sell on day 0 and they're going to get sort of 50% of the full entire allocation. And that's okay. Right, it's totally fine, right? We're not locking anybody up. We're not trying to hold anyone hostage. And if it is, if you don't believe in Sanctum, or if it's, you just want to sell for whatever reason, that's totally fine. All of this will go back to community allocation. So the airdrop comes from the 40% community allocation. All this will go back, and what that means is that we can then take this community and then plow it back into the people who are potentially long-term aligned in the future, right? And that gives us more. Basically, what we're trying to do is you're trying to give more governance to people who actually care long-term, right? And I think that kind of is what we're trying to do here. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. And there, I think, is the question Simi had asked around what happens to those extra tokens. The answer is they go back to the pot. And so just to confirm this here, the token itself won't. Yeah, thanks for putting up on the screen there. And then, as you said, as a reminder to anybody watching this right now, the Sanctum token is not live. It actually will go live on Thursday. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Thursday.
you claim directly on Thursday, you'll get kind of 50% of your overall allocation, and then it kind of goes up every day that you wait from that point forward. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. All right, cool. Which means, folks, if you are getting the airdrop, you can sell on day one if you would like. You are not locked in permanently, which I think is pretty cool. It's a interesting, complicated mechanism to make this happen. It's not easy designing these folks. So credit to the boys over here for putting in the time and the work. They've run out of expo markers. Their whiteboard is now black due to all the writing on it, but we got it in the end. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then there's a Sanctum NFT scam as well going on. I presume there's not a Sanctum.
One thing I think I want to dive into deeper is that the LFG Launchpad that me and FP worked together on is sort of designed to like, people ask themselves one question and they come to the LFG Launchpad. So the question they ask themselves is that, am I someone who wants to be part of the Sanctum mission for like more than 6 months? We call them Sanctum Aligned. Or are you someone who's like curious about Sanctum? You are like sort of like a tourist, someone who's not fully convicted yet. We want to provide a very obvious answer once you know which category you fall into. So for the Sanctum Aligned, it would be to wait for the entire bonus is over. For the Sanctum Curious, it would be to claim anytime or buy on the curve instead of the alpha board. And that was the key designing principle of LFG. And we hope that and we are looking forward to seeing what the community thinks of it. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Let's keep the good time rolling and talk a little bit more about this airdrop allocation. So here's another quick fact check. You need a Sanctum profile to claim your airdrop. FP, I'm guessing if this is on the slide, it means it's not true. So tell me, what is the Sanctum Profiles all about? And do you need it for the airdrop?
So you do not need a Sanctum profile to claim the airdrop. The Sanctum profile was for people to connect their wallets to their socials. So we knew when we looked at their socials, right, where to put where to give the airdrop to. And so that was the purpose of the Sanctum profile. It also helps us to determine that you're a real person and determine the extent to which you contributed, right, in various ways. But it's not required to claim the airdrop. Yeah, you don't need to have set up a Sanctum profile. Yeah.
There might be some other good reasons to set up a Sanctum profile, but claiming your airdrop is not one of them. Folks, I'm actually seeing a bunch of questions here around the allocations in the chat. So maybe we can just clarify this for folks as well. For the airdrop that you're getting, let's say that I would, like in the checker that comes out, I'm supposed to get 100 tokens, 100 cloud tokens. On day one, which is again Thursday, not today. Do not buy the Sanctum token or the cloud token anywhere you see it. But on Thursday, if I was allocated 100 tokens, how many can I claim on Thursday itself?
Yeah, so when you look at the airdrop allocation later today, the number there you see is without the bonus.
So there'll be two numbers, right? Technically.
Okay, so the number that you see on the screen will be without the bonus, and it's split out separately to capital and earnestness at the bottom. So if you didn't have an earnest allocation, you will see the capital airdrop amount. But that is the lowest amount of totals you will receive. It will tick up over time over the 14-day or 180-day window. Yeah.
Makes sense. So if your allocation is 100, you'll be able to claim 100, and then you'll get the additional 100% bonus if you wait the full 14 days or whatever else. So for people complaining that they're cutting our airdrop in half, no, it very much is a bonus. They're giving you an extra airdrop the longer that you hold here and wait out for it. So hopefully that clarifies. There's a few questions about that in the chat. Going back to some of the airdrop questions here. Let's talk a little bit more about how the airdrop is structured, FP.
Yeah, so really, okay. Every project wants to reward its real users. I really believe this. The problem is that it's very, very hard to reward real users because of Jito and Jupiter, to be honest.
Soju, this is your fucking fault. Sorry.
It's like everybody's just saying like, oh, hey, why don't you just do a Jito? Well, the problem is that after Jito and Jupiter airdrops, which were huge, right, and generated like massive wealth effects for the entire ecosystem, which is great, by the way, right? Fantastic. But it just makes things a lot harder for all of us that come after because, right, when Jito was running his points program, like people weren't interested in Solana. It was like very bear market, right? And similar to Jupe as well. And here today, when we launched, within a day, we got like 200,000 wallets, right? Now notice I said wallets, right? Because like no, we didn't get 200,000 users. Like as much as some founders like to say, oh, we have this many thousand users, I can tell you we don't, right? Like we absolutely do not. At a push we may have 20K maximum. I would say, right? And simply because like creating a new wallet in crypto is just so easy, right? Creating you're just like spinning up 20 wallets. And in fact, when we did like the Sybils detection stuff, like you could remove like 60 clusters of thousands and thousands and thousands of wallets, and we removed like 60,000 just like this, and it's just and anyway, my point is, right, like airdrop design is hard, right? And when people are talking about like, oh, hey, why don't you just cap the whales and give give to the small guys like us, like I totally understand that, right? But the problem is that when you do that, you're giving to people who basically cheat the system, right? And it's very hard to remove Sybils. And it's not just that it's very hard, it's also that for me, like for everybody, right, we'd rather let 10 Sybils go than punish one innocent person, right? Because like if you have like 100 like Sybils and you can zero them out, great. But if you zero one real user, that guy's gonna be pissed, right? Like, and he deserves it, right? And so like that solution is not possible, right? Especially when there's so much interest after the Jito and Jupiter drops. So what we did, and this is like pretty controversial, but I think it's going to be the best way for airdrops going forward, is that we split into two, right? It's like, well, we have the capital component, and then we have the earnestness component. And the capital component allows us to reward users in proportion to how much soul they've put in, right? And then the earnestness allows us to identify users who have actually contributed. And again, right, like looking at user profiles, so we go through like 125,000 Twitter profiles, right? We go through like millions of Discord messages, every single one. It's very easy to tell who's botting or like what's kind of like low quality messages, right? It's very easy to tell. You have Twitter names that are like first name, last name, and then like 5-digit numbers, and it's kind of like obvious, what these are, and you can sort of like zero allow them out. And my point is, right, that you get almost the best of both worlds, right? So you're treating the whales like fairly. Anybody who put in capital, is rewarded proportionally, and right, because you're able to filter out so many Sybils in the earnestness component, right? Because the bar is a lot higher, right? That you're able to give everybody, in that earnestness a much larger share of the pie, right? So that's kind of like the idea, right? Which is kind of what Tiered was trying to do all along, right? Which is that you're trying to not reward, not make sure like top guys take all of the allocation, but rather kind of create wealth effects for real users. And I think this is like the best way in which we can do that. Yeah.
So when it says removing small deposits, what counts as a small deposit for this airdrop?
Yeah, so for us, we set so apart from removing Sybils, we also removed anyone who had less than 200,000 EXP, something like this, and that is something like if you put in 0.2 soul or 0.25 soul for like the duration of Wonderland, which is less than $50, and that is like that is a cutoff of what we consider like like a low value user, and like the vast majority of these people are Sybils, right? And as you know, we had something like 330,000 wallets, right? And then when you cut off, like 60% of them have like 0.001, so some tiny
right,
like dust amount, and then the next 60,000 have less than 0.3 or something like that. And so like there are a lot of these users that you can just sort of cut off and filter out, basically. Yeah. If you just had one soul, you would be really in like the top, like in the top percentile of the airdrop. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Makes sense. Folks, I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat. I love it. Keep putting those in there. We're going to try and collect them and answer them at the end of the call as well. So if we're not getting to what you're asking right now, give us a little bit of patience and then we'll get to it. I promise you. All right, let's go to the next fact check. And this is a common one. Linear allocation screws retail. I've seen one or two people say this in the chat. FP, is this true?
I mean, yes. I think, the answer is it depends, right? And so it really depends on how how much capital there is deployed in Sanctum Wonderland. So at our peak, we hit like 1 billion TVL, and then we quickly closed it, right? And so I mean, because we didn't want to be sort of like for going forward and TVL grow higher, right? But like if you hit 1 billion, like we hit like $1 billion, that's like an insane amount of money, right? So if you've put one soul in, right, which is about like $150 or $160 now, like it's hard, like it's hard for you to get a meaningful share of the airdrop. And again, right, like you can cut the whales and so on. But again, right, like then actually you're giving to different kinds of whales, right? Which is that the single whale who is like taking like 100,000 soul and dividing it into 100,000 wallets, right? And it's really not it's difficult to check that. Yeah, so and I think that's kind of the point of the earnestness component, right? Which is that, look, if you don't have enough soul, right? Like if you don't have much soul, that's fine, because then your earnestness, if you were earnest, right, then we can reward you for it. And in fact, like the top earnestness tier is third on the leaderboard. So they were like way down, right? And then they got this bonus, and now so like they're all the way at the top, and like earnestness pays, right? And so like that's exactly what we want to happen, right? So for the top like whales to get good elo, and the top earnest people to also get elo, right? And it just like it doesn't matter how you contribute, monetarily or not monetarily, right? You can still be rewarded fairly with the airdrop. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm sure. I know I've heard you guys talk about earnestness and what goes into that many times on previous streams, but just in case we have some new folks here, do you mind just explaining really quickly what earnestness is all about and how somebody would have got onto the earnestness list, or the earnest list?
Yeah. So earnestness, for us, it's about being caring about the project because of the mission, and not because of the airdrop at the end. I think that's like fundamentally, or like so we had we had people volunteering their time without expecting anything. So for example, when Wonderland went down, right? There are people who were and we were trying to fight fires and we weren't available on Discord. There were people who were there and supporting and saying like, hey, don't worry, like the team is working on it, and answering the same questions again and again, because people keep coming in and asking like these questions, and if we were to answer these questions, we couldn't get any work done, right? So that's very helpful. But it's small things like that, but also other things like a criticism, right? It's like, hey guys, I really don't like this thing that you're doing, right? I have doubts about like this particular feature or the way you structure your whatever, right? And that's very valuable insight as well. We had like a potential vulnerability, right, that was flagged out by a security researcher. He didn't ask for like a bounty or anything. He's like, hey, I just thought you should know, right? And then we fixed it, and great. And it's like that, he didn't ask for anything in return. We had someone who built like a website, right, for us, which is like, oh, I wanted to have a great, Twitter, there's so many Twitter, it's easy to get lost. Let me build like an all-in-one website to put all the Sanctum information in one place so people can have a look. And he did it again. We didn't ask him to do it. We didn't pay him anything. He just like, oh, I thought it was a good idea, so I built it, right? And that to me is earnestness, right? It's like you believe in the protocol and you want to help it, and thank you for that, and then we will reward you for it. Yeah, and I think this is a good comment on the shout out here, which is that like a lot of people say, hey, your criteria is not transparent. You didn't tell us in advance. Well, I think the obvious issue with that is like, hey guys, in order to qualify for the earnest airdrop, you need at least this and this and this and this. That wouldn't work very well, right? And so
yeah, the farmers come right back out
for obvious reasons, right? It's like telling people the answers to the test. And so while I do understand, right, that it was, it may have taken people by surprise, I've actually been talking about earnestness since April, and just keep talking about like, hey, we really want to reward good people in crypto, people who are not just motivated by the money, they're interested in helping, interested in coming together as a community. And these are people that we want to reward. And then the last thing I would want to say is that we are not interested in rewarding like KOLs or like influencers. So when we looked at the tweets, right, when we look at the Discord messages, it doesn't matter who you are. Like we literally remove the username, from the data dump, right? And it's just because like we don't care how many views you got, we didn't care, how many likes you got or whatever. That's not the point. It's like how much effort did you put in? Was the quality good, right? And it's not just like, oh, here's how to farm the airdrop, you're gonna make $5,000. That's not something that we like to see. But we like to see like, oh, I love the possibilities of Sanctum. I love that you can do this. What about, when people say, what about this? They've understood the mission. They're like, oh, we could do this LSD. And like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing that we want to see. So yeah.
That's what I'd like to see. I think a lot of the airdrop meta, indeed, as you pointed out, because of Jito and Soju. So thanks a lot, Soju. It's your fault for messing it up. It just started to become this kind of thing where like, hey, anyone who feels like I just like touched this or used this once, now I deserve the credit here. And what I think is cool about this, it's always a balancing act, right? Like you don't want to shut out the little guys entirely to the benefits of the whales. And so you say like, hey, if the whales are contributing capital, that is legitimately valuable to the protocol. But if individuals are contributing, whether it's through feedback or helping answer questions or creating content or whatever else it might be, that is also very valuable. So, for the people in the chat who feel like, oh, I didn't help out, so now I don't get anything, that's kind of the way it works. The goal here is to reward the people who are pushing the protocol forward and creating real value, because that's who you want as owners of the protocol in the long term.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
So I've seen, so this earnestness has been super controversial, right? But there are two kinds of people, and there's one kind which is like, hey, I know I don't have much money, and also I was really busy these few months. But I should get more anyway. And it's like, well, look, if you put in no money and you didn't help, then what? How do you want me to give anything? And this is hard for me to help. But there are people who said, hey, I didn't put in much money. I know I didn't put in much money, and I know I wasn't earnest. What can I do to help? Right? And like that, right, is like I respect that a lot, because it's like, okay, like you instead of complaining and whining about how you should be getting more, you're like, yes, I like this. I want to be part of it. And that's exactly what we want, right? We want to give like a big bonus to the earnest folks, right? And then it's like people are like, yes, I want to participate. And then it's like, yes, remember there's still 30% in the community airdrop. Like there's still a big pie, for us, right? For you, right? In future airdrops. So if people are asking me how can I be earnest, right? I've written like a guide on that, how to be earnest. And then the answer is like don't try to fake it, right? Like it's like, the one of the guys that we rewarded is someone who has 15,000 messages, and it's not like GM. It's not that kind of messages, right? He's continuously every single day he's like helping out, answering questions, right? Helping to dispel doubts, or even like just help users in general, and consistently helpful. And it's like, yeah, you can't fake this. There's no bot script that you can run that does this, right? And I mean, if you did write the bot that does this, I would reward you anyway, I think. Thank you for that. But so like and if you're that second kind of person, then like, yes, I really welcome you. Please join us, and then like we'll figure out a way to reward you in subsequent airdrops. I will personally say, like, we never want to do like manually looking through 125,000 Twitter profiles again. It's like so painful. But we knew if we did something like, just looking at the number of messages, like that wouldn't be the right way. Like you would lose a lot of people, and you get a lot of people who don't deserve to be in. And so like we wanted to do it the proper way, the right way, but it's not scalable, and I don't recommend we do it ever again. Yeah,
I think at the risk of overly glazing here, folks, for people who have not launched token before, it is a very stressful time. There's a lot of different dimensions that you can choose from. And whether or not you agree with the approach that the Sanctum folks have taken here, and I'm just speaking for myself, I've been impressed from the sidelines, and also like being in the group chats, seeing how hard they're working to make this something that does genuinely benefit the protocol and the community that actually exists, rather than just people that are kind of swarming onto it like locusts. And I think that's laudable. Not everyone does it that way. All right, let's go on to the next fact check, which I guess you spoke to a little bit already, around earnestness is only for KOLs, people who say good project, and all of FP's close friends. I think you kind of spoke to this already, but in case you want to put a little nail in this one.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, none of the team like has any earnestness allocation, right? We made sure to like absolutely tell nobody, right, about the allocation and how to get earnestness. I understand this is concern. And we're not looking for yes men, right? People who reply, because some of these are bots, right? They actually people actually write Twitter bots to reply to you, like, oh, good tweet,
good project.
Good project, oh, it's bullish, like fire emoji, and it's kind of like, and then what you have to do is you kind of have to like, if you suspect it's a bot, you have to look at their Twitter profile, look at their like chat, like their tweet history and things like that, or Discord, same thing. And so, but anyway, we're looking for quality, not just quantity. Of course, well, quality and quantity, consistently, that is like the best. But yeah, we're not looking for just bold posts. In fact, actually, we really try to value critical comments, right? When people are like not just like bold posting, but like, oh, I'm worried about this, and because that's it's something that we can communicate better, or it's something that we can change, right? And this is like the most valuable feedback of all. So we made sure to like reward that, even if it's not like nice to hear, like and yeah. So we really try our best to be as fair as possible.
Yeah. I think one thing I want to add is that like when we talk about how good the Solana ecosystem is and how like we watch out for each other, we rally together, we help each other out. I think earnestness is actually a trait of what a lot of the builders in this ecosystem are, like, or like earnestness is a lot of like the people. Like there are so many individuals in Solana who they don't work for anyone, but you know what they do in the space. You know that they communicate ideas to each other. You know they spread the mission, and it's these people that we're trying to like reward and then like bring them together and sort or push us all forward in a way, sort of like give them more voting power, give them more resources to push things forward to hit like the goals of like Jupiter or Sanctum or so on together. Yeah,
because good people, if you don't reward them, they'll become jaded and they'll leave. They'll see like, hey, there are people who are dishonest, there are people who are mercenary, and they are getting a hit. If you do a tiered airdrop, someone's gonna think, hey, I was honest. I put like all my money in one wallet, and then if I had deployed it into 10 different wallets, I would have gotten 10 times the allocation, right? And like, what do you think they're gonna do next time?
Yeah, there's a statement which is like, oh yeah, I wish I just I spent all my time gambling instead of like building or helping people. I'll be so much more.
We hear this all the time.
I think we all say that. Yeah,
we hear this all the time because it's like, why the hell are we working so hard? It's like there's like 7 digits that we could just get by buying the coin at the right time. And it's. I mean, we are really trying to be like, okay, if you are earnest, like here's a shit ton of cloud. Go and take it. And yeah, precisely because like we want people, like we want doing the good thing to be rewarded. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, folks. I think I can also personally vouch, by the way, for them not telling anybody about it. I had something of an insider at times. I asked FP about it. He's like, hey, I can't tell you anything about the airdrop. Go figure it out yourself. Which was no problem, obviously. But yeah, so this is I can firsthand vouch that no one on the inside knew anything about this. I can assure you of that. And then I think somebody in the chat said, drop a little fire emoji if you're not a bot. That'd be great to see. So how many non-bots do we have watching right now? Can you please drop a little fire emoji if you are. And thank you for everybody who's complimenting my hairline. I do appreciate that as well, I guess. Okay, anyway, my hairline and botness aside, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up next after the airdrop. Believe it or not, folks, Sanctum has a larger vision than simply launching a token. That is when the work begins rather than finishes, contrary to what a lot of people might think out there. And so here we have a few questions about what's going to happen afterwards. Here's the question I hear all the time. Hey, is Sanctum just doing LSTs? Is that all that the Sanctum's got going on? And by the way, loving the fire in the chat right now. That's a lot of real humans in this chat right now. All right, so FB, can you talk a little bit about some of the post-TGE plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So LSTs are to Sanctum what I think like plumbing is to civilization, right? And by that I mean like, okay, like plumbing is very important, right? We all need plumbing, because otherwise we'd be, standing in shit. But right, it's something that ideally should be in the background, right? You don't think about it. And so, right, instead of making these LSTs as like a, as this like super important thing, it really should be as a background. What I'm interested in is not like LSTs for the sake of LSTs, but like what can you do with the LSTs, right? And so, for example, right, think about a personal LST, right, an artist or creator's LST, right? Kash sold, right? This is, this is an LST, right? But the main purpose is like, let's allow artists to make an independent living, creating the work that they love, right? And let's allow them to support themselves completely through Web3, right? That's the important part. It's not the LST, right? Same thing with businesses, right? Or same thing with businesses. You can have like LSTs can be used to pay for stuff that the business, goods and services that the business sells, right? Again, does the LST matter? Yes, but that's not what's important. And so I see LSTs as a core primitive to enable like all these different possibilities, right? And we have 3 things. The first one is Sanctum. So again, these are just things that I made up, right? I said these are not like firm plans. A lot of these are in the pipeline, but they're not like, I'm not saying that we will definitely ship this. There's no like firm date. But there are 3 things we want to do. First is like something, working name might change, right? Something we call Sanctum Launchpad, right? And the idea is that, again, as I said, you use LSTs as a funding method to fund companies and people that you love, right? And to buy goods and services that you want to see, right? So this, for example, I shouted out, for example, Raposa Coffee, right? For example, right? And the idea is that you can hold a Raposa Coffee's LST. You can get and what you accumulate points from the staking yields of the LST, and once you have enough, you're able to redeem it for a can of coffee, something like this, right? And so like we want to build this whole ecosystem of people using LSTs to fulfill their dreams, basically. Yeah,
I think that's super cool. Socials and loyalty as well. I guess. This kinda
Yes.
goes back- yeah.
So we built out Sanctum Profiles, right? In part, of course, to do what we were doing, this earnestness checker, but we actually have a lot bigger plans for it. And I think the plan for Sanctum Profiles is to essentially become the gateway to sort of like Web3, right? And so if you think about it, we've done a lot of legwork in identifying real users, right? And people could potentially use that data for subsequent drops or whatever. But I see this Sanctum Socials as being like a web for people to be like, okay, like I have a profile, right? And I can hold Soju's LSD and he can hold mine and he can be my top fan and I can be his, it's like OnlyFans kind of vibe, except, with clothes on.
Hold on now. Well, now you've got the audience's attention. Soju OnlyFans coming in. That's going to be the new headline of DJ News. DJ News, if you're watching this, please post that.
And so potentially people and companies could use this data, right? They could say like, hey, I've seen that this guy has been holding my LST for a long time and he's contributed this many. Let me drop him an NFT or let me drop me some of the token, right? Thank you for your loyal contribution, things like that. And so I think this socials will be like a massive gateway to basically unlock like Web3 that isn't just like a look at your wallet with the numbers on it, because that's not really like, that's the only interface that you have as a user right now, right? You kind of look at your portfolio and it's all numbers, but like, can we think about like, oh, what products do you buy? What NFTs you hold? Who do you support, right? I think that's a more broader picture of what a person is rather than what tokens they hold, right? And so, that's the kind of what the point of socials and loyalty is for.
I think that's super cool.
And finally, Sanctum Pay, right? So we are working with a company called Base App to build basically this LST-powered debit card. As far as I know, this is like the first ever. And the whole idea is that you hold the LST, card sold, right? The staking yields go and are converted into USDC. Right, and then and then it goes into your debit card and you can spend it anywhere. And so the idea is that you have your soul bags and you never need to touch your soul bags. You never need to sell, right? The idea is that you never touch your soul bags, but at the same time you have this card and you never need to off ramp, right, to pay the bills or buy groceries. I think like a lot of people really, really get excited about this concept for the reason I just said.
I'm
this
so
guy right
excited.
here. I'll be the first one in line when it's ready.
For us who hold a lot of soul, like it kind of makes sense, right? And I would just love to never ever have to touch like fiat again, and so I can put my whole life savings onto Sanctum and then use Sanctum Pay to off them when I need to. So like that's something that the whole team wants to use, and so we're really excited in making that forward. Yeah.
Sounds like financial advice there. And as Overlord is saying, the IRS has entered the chat as well. I think this is
legal advice on the tax or whatever. Yeah.
But I think this is super cool. So it's all, I think like the common theme for all of these, right, is finding ways that LSTs can actually benefit and create real value for real people in the real world. Whether it is helping on-chain economy grow even further, whether it is helping like real-world creators and communities and so on benefit from it, or whether it's just helping every daily user go about and use better financial rails everywhere that they go. So I think all of these ideas are very excited. And if I'm not mistaken, FP, these were just ideas that you kind of wrote down in a Twitter thread or something like that, or are these formally on the roadmap right now?
I mean, a lot of these have been things that we've been talking internally for months, if not years, some of these ideas, right? But the reason it took us so long is because it took us like basically 2 years to build the infrastructure that, like nowadays we talk about like, we have this like router and reserve and infinity, and all these things need to be there in order for you to have like all these different LSTs, right? And we spend a lot of time talking about it, but to be honest, that's not the thing that I really want to talk about, because that's infrastructure, that's plumbing, right? The real interesting thing is like, can we make people richer and happier? Can we build this on-chain economy where like, you have like people selling you coffee, I mean, all the goods and services you can buy on Solana, right? And be rewarded on there, right? It's like, that's a lot more exciting to me than like talking about that infrastructure. But it's vitally important. The infrastructure has to be there. Otherwise, like none of this.
Otherwise, we're standing in shit. Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of cool things here. One quick programming note for K Day, who says, you notice they took the comments down on the screen. A, yeah, I'm reading the chat as we go through this. And B, this is actually fully a Kash thing that I like using this piece of software. So you can still see the chat in YouTube. If you're on Twitter, you can head over to YouTube to see the whole chat as well. That's not trying to obfuscate anything. And like I said, we'll take some questions at the end of this. Soju, I'm keen to hear of these three. Is there one that you're particularly excited about or bullish on?
Actually, Sanctum Pay and Sanctum Launchpad are both ideas that Jupiter will be pushing very aggressively. So for example, the Sanctum Launchpad, we actually had this brilliant idea of like, you have an LST, the LST gives you an APY. You then hold a I don't know, like Juke Buck or Raposa Buck. It's sort of a SPR token standard of like the money that you can spend at the company. Like, I don't know, it's like a prepaid gift card. Everything will be powered on Jupyter Rails, and together we'll launch a site where you can spend this money essentially. For us, it's part of our DAM initiative. Like, for example, one day you can have, if you have a million Lambo bucks, you can buy a Lambo. You can hold enough LSD to accumulate the million Lambo bucks over time. Or you can buy it directly using a shitcoin. So this will be something we'll be pushing together very aggressively after launch. Just have to.
I mean, both of Jupyter and Sanctum really have the same goal, which is to really
10x the scope of crypto.
I mean, forget 10x, right? Think about 1,000xing the size of the on-chain economy. This is the whole point of NYSE and the GDSE and GUM, right? Grand Decentralized Stock Exchange, Grand Unified Market. The whole point, is to bring off-chain assets on-chain, right? And I think here is where we differ a little bit, right? So Jupyter is doing a lot of bringing already existing web off-chain assets on-chain like T-bills and gold and so on, right? I'm more interested in thinking about how we can incubate, right, people who are already Web3 native, because there's so many of us, right? Like there's Web3 people who want to start a business, like be it like a health club or a or like a piece of software or coffee or whatever, right? Can they start it? Like can Web3 or can Sanctum, can Solana be the place to start your business, right? Instead of how do people normally start business? You go to a bank and they ask for a loan, and it's like can it's the same thing, right? Like just like Meow is saying, like I want when a company lists on the stock exchange, they list it on Jupyter first. That's the big vision. Same thing here. When you want to start a company, right? Don't start it by going to your local bank. Start it by asking for money from the LST community, from Solana community, and like that. I think to us, like that's that is really what we really want to achieve.
Yeah,
I think
we're very important to this vision. Yeah, very excited to drive this out together because we have a lot of common goals, synergies, and common goals. Yeah,
very complementary kind of approaches here. Okay, cool. Let's keep this going so that we have some time for Q&A. We have talked about this one a little bit as well, but I'll ask it again for anyone who maybe just joined the call. What the I can swear. It's my call. I can swear. What the fuck is the point of Sanctum Profiles? FP, you've hit about this a little bit already on the social loyalty layer, how other people might plug in. Anything else that you want to say on profiles for people that missed it before?
I mean, well, for people who just joined, right? Remember, the Sanctum Profiles are not necessary to claim the airdrop. But like Sanctum Profiles ideally should be your gateway to Web3. And as I said, like, instead of having to look at your wallet and look at the numbers, you're much more than the numbers in your wallet, right? You're a lot more like, who are your friends, right? Who do you support, right? What artists do you support? What friends do you support? What NFTs do you collect, right? Like all of this stuff, what products that you buy, right? And profiles is just a way for us to sort of like, for you to express yourself there, and for people to reward you for doing so. Yeah.
Very exciting. Well, I think with that said, why don't we start getting into some of the questions from the audience? So if you have a question that has not yet been answered, drop it into the chat and we'll start to bring them up. Srijani, if we have any that you can pop into the private chat, that would be great. But if not, here's one. Will you be doing the same Earnestness drop in season 2 now that the cat's out of the bag and people know how to fake it?
Well, no, right? So a couple of things. Well, first of all, as I said, I never want to do like looking through bad profiles manually again, right? It's a painful process, and we double check, we cross check each other's work. It's just pain. I never want to do that. But also, I have one criticism, and I think it's valid, right? Which is that it's the team that decides everything. And yes, it is the team. It is us that decides everything. We had to. We didn't have a choice. Again, as I said, you can't have this objective metric, right? But in the future, I would like this to be a lot more community driven, right? It's like I think the community is better placed, right, than us to find out who else is contributing to the community, right? And I don't have like a specific idea as to how this could be done, right? Conceivably, you could do it with token voting, but how do you prevent it from being a popularity contest? Or how do you make sure that people are not bribing, right? To vote for me, and then when I get the earnestness allocation, I'll give it to you guys. Like it's not as easy as you think, right? But I for sure, like I don't want to do something that is just like what we are doing again, which is this very centralized way of like looking at who's earners and just giving it to them. Again, I don't have the answer right now, but I will say one thing, right? Some people have said like, oh yeah, now everybody's gonna fake it, right? Like now everybody's gonna pretend to be friendly and helpful and help to answer questions on Discord and create websites and so on. I'm like, good. Like, you know, like, great. You know,
we tricked people into being helpful. What a terrible right?
Yeah, our master plan.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so like, you know, like instead of sort of like, you know, the problem with doing a tiered airdrop is that you make people do like a bad thing, right? Which is like Sybils and split out the wallets. Here, you know, I like to say it's kind of like paying money to people to like, you know, go to old folks' homes or like nursing homes and talk to old people there and keep them company. It's like, yeah, you know, is there going to be some gaming of the system? Is there going to be a little bit like, does it cheapen it a little bit? Maybe. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, well, now the world's a better place, right? And so if I can get a place where like people are like airdrop, like, you know, if YouTubers are not writing like airdrop threads or always talking about like, oh, here's how to found the airdrop, but instead they're thinking about like, oh, here's the protocol. I'm really excited about the protocol. Here are some criticisms about the protocol. And by the way, here's how to found the airdrop. Wonderful, you know, like, yeah. So let's trick them into being helpful. And I have no issues with that. But yeah, I mean, I do take the criticism that it is a bit centralized, and so we're looking to find a better way to do it, a more scalable way to do it for season 2. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go to this question because Dizen has asked me a few times. Basically saying he's a legally approved Sybil. Not sure exactly what that means, but he has a bunch of different wallets. He created profiles for all the wallets. Is he going to get the airdrop or not? Now, if I'm not mistaken, the point of the profiles was to link together all your different wallets to avoid exactly this situation. Is that right, FP?
Yes.
That's what you just said, bro.
So the profiles was kind of a way for you to come clean, right? And you know, like basically for obviously there's at the start of Wonderland, people sometimes create multiple wallets, and this is fine. This is fine.
I did.
Right. Again, we're not trying to punish people who have multiple. I myself have multiple wallets, right? Because for security reasons or privacy reasons, etc. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But what we're thinking about is like industrial scale Sybils. So we filter out people who are like creating wallets for the express purpose of farming Wonderland. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. It looks like it comes like there's like 200 wallets all created at the same time, right? And it's like the same amount is funding by the same like like centralized exchange address, right? And that I mean, come on, right? Like it's like that's a very clear cut case of what a Sybil is. So some people are like, oh, you know, I have 2 wallets, or like, oh, my brother has a wallet, and I sometimes whatever. Like this is fine. But if you have like 49 brothers and 27 cousins, it's like, okay, maybe that's an issue. Anyway, the point is,
Soju is your father if you have that many siblings. But yeah, it's everything.
Not his father, but his daddy.
Yeah, daddy. Anyway, the point of the profiles was that we allowed you to link up to 1,000 1,000 wallets, right? And we said like please be honest, right? And some people did, right? I think the top guy, so nobody linked like 1,000 wallets. The top guy linked like 287 wallets or something like this. And so like, I mean, like first of all, props to you, right? Thank you. And then like, yeah, of course. And this is not something that we have an issue with, but yeah, I mean, there are some people who actually took 287, like they have 200 wallets and they make 200 profiles. And to me, that's like very strong evidence of bad faith, right? Like we told you explicitly what the profiles were for, and you still tried to game the system, and you actually bought like fake Twitter accounts and fake Discord accounts, and you link them as well, right? And like to me, like this is just like a bad faith thing, right? And it's just like, yeah, I when I see this, I'm like, I do not want to reward this person with any clout whatsoever, because this is bad faith behavior.
Cool. Let's go to the next question here. Again, this came up a few times in the comments. Is 200,000 EXP the set filter for the airdrop?
Yes, I have to double check the numbers, but that's about right. Yeah.
It's about right. So if you have less than 200,000 XP, which again, for people at home is whatever, $50 of Sol staked for 2 weeks. So assuming that you, something like this. Yeah. So assuming that you had a little bit more than that, you should be fine. All right, let's do another one here. If I deposit into the Alpha Vault, do I need to immediately trade when LFG opens, or am I locked into an opening price? So Soju, maybe this one's for you.
Yeah, so Alpha Vault is like deposit USDC. Before the trading begin, about an hour before, the Alpha Vault will fire first into the pool and have the right to buy first. After it buys, whatever excess unused USDC can be withdrawn. So for example, if the pool is oversubscribed, you'll be able to withdraw the excess USDC like 30 minutes before the launch, and you can buy more tokens on the launch, or you can use it flexibly in however you want. Set up limit orders, DCA. And then the CLOUD tokens will be vested over 180 days. Yeah.
So
no,
you don't have to go in there. You don't have to click an additional button. Once you've deposited into the Alpha Vault, you are done for the day,
next
unless
button is
it's
withdraw.
get oversubscribed, and then you want to take out some money, maybe use that as well. But as a reminder, if it does get oversubscribed, you'll get the money back, right? So you can put in those funds and be able to use those as well. This is a fun question that's been flagged, and I'm very curious to your response here. Quote, I am not Earnest, and I am not a whale. How should I use my capital in season 2? I like that they're like, I'm not Earnest. I'm telling you, I'm here to farm you. What is the best way to farm you?
I mean, maybe like, so I think the idea of Sanctum is that we want to give you 1,000 ways to spend your soul, right? To hold your, like, if you hold soul, we'll give you 1,000 ways to spend it, right? And so maybe like Infinity or LSC, any of the current LSCs don't appeal to you, and that's fine, right? I think like maybe something will, right? Maybe you want like Repulsor coffee, or you want like, you know, Flojo energy drink, or you want to support like an artist that you really like, or an author that you really like, right? And or if honestly, if you have an idea for an LSC, like let us know, because you know, the bottleneck isn't, to me, the bottleneck is never really capital. Not really. I mean, capital is important, but the bottleneck is always like good people willing to be brave and build these new projects with this like new sort of LST system. And so I think that would be like a big help for us. Tell us what you'd like to see, and we'll try to, you know, bring that on chain.
Very nice. Another kind of straightforward question here from Kevin: is there a cliff for the Alpha Vault, or just 6-month linear vesting?
Yeah, I also saw some other questions which I also answered at the same time. So let's say the allocation is oversubscribed, everyone will receive pro rata. So if like the vault has like 10x more than 7.5, that's 75 million USDC deposited, everyone will get 10% in cloud and 90% in USDC. It's not first come, first serve. And for vesting, you'll be linear vesting for 180 days. So you just like, I don't know, 100% divided by 180 days. That's how much you get every day.
Every day.
Yeah. And you can claim it
every day.
No,
Can
sorry,
you
it
claim that every
accumulates every slot. It accumulates every slot. So what we do is that we calculate how many slots in 180 days, and every slot, which is like a Solana block that goes by,
Every half a second.
every half a second, or allocation goes claim, claim. Yeah.
So I could claim if I wanted to 100 times a day if I've deposited into the Alpha Vault. Is that right?
You might pay a lot of transaction fees in that case, but yeah.
Thank God for Solana.
Originally, there was a cliff at the start. There was like a 2-month cliff and 6-month vest. This was something that I floated as the idea, and then I eventually realized that okay, actually there's no need for the cliff, because really what the cliff was trying to do is to prevent botters from, like, basically you don't want people to enter the Alpha Vault because it's a good deal and then immediately flip the token, right? This is because again they're coming in at like 1 million, right, at the bottom end. And so but the idea, and Soju convinced me of this, actually you are the one, and he said like, hey, you know, like no bot's gonna come in if like and flip if they're gonna get like 90, you know, like 99% of their capital is locked up like a day from then, right? They'll not be able to do this arbitrage stuff. That convinced me. I was like, okay, yeah, Soju's right. So we probably don't need the 2-month cliff, and it makes things a lot easier as well. Yeah.
Let this be a lesson for everyone out there. Listen to Soju. Okay, let's go to
he's right more often than not, I have to say. I listen to him a lot.
Let's see. So yeah, this again goes to the Alpha Vault. If it's oversubscribed, how the purchase is prioritized. I think Soju just talked about this. You will receive it pro rata. So if it raises $100 million and you put in $1 million, you'll get 1% of the $7.5 million allocation. So
yeah, there's no reason to make it, no reason to turn it into a bot the vault and not the pool games. All you're doing is moving the date where it gets botted. If you had done first come, first serve, yeah.
Shout out Wykit from the team coming out saying Soju, ladies man.
I think, but you guys don't know, but there's actually a long line of girls waiting just outside.
This guy is becoming a mailman. Oh
no. Here's an important question from Scarlett. Shout out to Scarlett, loyal cadet. When's Sanctum merch?
Yeah, I really want to do this in time for Breakpoint. The problem is that I don't want to do yet another t-shirt. T-shirts are fine. I have like a ton, right? I'm wearing like a Pathfinder's, like a Pathfinder t-shirt right now, and I really like the design. But I want to do something a little bit more interesting than t-shirt, just because people have too many t-shirts, right? But I don't know what that is now, and I have had no bandwidth to think about this. So if someone wants to think about like what it can be, like I'm happy to like reward that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just send it. Sounds very
If you're earnest, if you're looking for a way to contribute, this is your chance here. Let's see, what else do we have here? Any other questions that you guys have seen that you want to respond to while I pick this up?
Can I deposit Sol for Cloud in the LFG vault? That's a question. Yeah. It's USDC only. Actually, we thought about taking Sol because again, a lot of the things that we want to do and bootstrap is with Sol. But I think we eventually decided against it because it's just like USDC is probably a lot easier for people to handle. Yeah. And we can always actually we do have plans to buy Sol after with the USDC, and it's all fungible anyway. Yeah. But USDC is just a lot more probably a lot easier for people to use. Yeah.
Before this call started, I had asked Soju and FP to make sure not to check their phones. Soju, can you check your phone real quick? Now I give you. There's a message for you in the group, in the Sanctum LFG group.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we talked about future planning. We talked about a few things. When is the Alpha Vault release? Is another question that should be happening, I believe, in about 30 minutes from now, if I'm not mistaken. There's a great survival guide to Sanctum Week that you can find over on the Sanctum Twitter that has all the dates and times lined up for you very easily, so you can feel free to jump into there. If somebody has an idea for an LST, like Brett here, FP, what is the best way to get in touch to discuss? Discord, Twitter DMs, message Soju? What would you say?
Yeah, so like our Discord is open, right? Feedback and reach out to us, reach out on Twitter, right? Write a post, tag me, I'll see it. I think anything works. If I don't respond, like just tag me on Twitter and I'll be there. Yeah. DMs on Twitter are not that great because they do get sort of lost in the spam. But if you can make a post and tag me on Twitter, and I can reach out to you. Yeah.
Very cool. And here we have the survival guide that people should definitely check out. Here's a question: how much token supply is reserved for the exchanges at listing?
0, none. Yeah. So part of the thing that we did, one of the many controversial decisions we made during the launch is that we made a public commitment not to pay any listing fees. And by listing fees, I also include like marketing budgets or security deposits or KOL allocations, etc. So no fees of any sort. This was, to put it lightly, very risky and not often done.
You're underselling it a little bit, folks. Let me tell you, this, like among my circles, like I'm friends with a few founders here or there. Multiple people reached out and were like, "Yo, FP's a fucking G." Like it's a baller move to kind of just say like, sexist, everybody else is on their knees at all times trying to do things I can't talk about on this family-friendly call. But FP and the gang were just like, "No, get out of here." And yet, if I'm not mistaken, you guys will be listed on a few exchanges basically right away, correct?
Yes, so again, to be clear, right, we're not saying like, oh, fuck the sexes, like, you guys like all suck. And that's not the message here. It's just like, I feel like whatever we want to do is like, we want to get all the tokens to reward the people who actually use our protocol, right, who actually are, again, earnest and either contributing capital or contributing via earnestness. And so giving some of this to sexes, it just like doesn't quite align with me, at least not day zero. Now, some exchanges have been really good with this. They're like, oh, you don't take listing fees? Great, we're very aligned with that. It's not our policy to charge any fees of any sort. We'll list you right away. And that we appreciate a lot. Some of them says, hey, we're really actually interested in going into Web3. Let's try and set up an LST with you together. And that we appreciate a lot. And so, can there be collaborations in the future where we give cloud to exchanges? Absolutely, I don't see why not. But it's just that I just don't like this like meta of having to pay to list. Just because I think that frankly it can be quite predatory, because I think slight digression is like for you launching the token is like a labor of love. It is like 3 years and a half I've worked on this thing, right? And it's like your baby and you don't want it to go wrong. But exchanges do this as just another Tuesday for them, right? Oh yeah, just another token, we slot you in at 11, 12, we have another one, right? And so they have a lot more like leverage and bargaining power, and they're very good at it because they negotiate you every day, every single day. And this is like your one shot. Yeah, are you gonna fuck up? Right? Are you gonna do this crazy thing, or are you gonna do like best practice, the one that everybody does, right? And yeah, this was honestly very, very hard for us and the team to make the decision. But I'm glad we did it, because now we can say like, look, I mean, I don't know how the airdrop will work. I don't know what the community sentiment is, but at least I can touch my heart. I can sleep at night and say like, I did everything the way I thought that it was the right way to do, right? I do right by our team, by our community, by the meta in general. So, it is what it is. Yeah.
Principles
Yeah, man.
first.
We need more
Certainly.
founders like you. It's an on-chain trading platform.
Let's take a few more kind of quick fire questions here. So this one is the Launchpad updated with Earnestness. I assume he means the airdrop checker that will be released relatively soon. Will that include both the Earnestness airdrop as well as the kind of usage airdrop?
You'll see both separately, and you'll be able to claim them independently. Yeah.
Nice. How long is the vault going to be open for? The Alpha Vault itself?
46 hours.
It's about 46 hours. So they close about 2 hours before the launch, and we are launching the site about 2 days before. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it'll be ready in whatever 30-ish minutes. Soju, is that right?
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Very
In
soon.
30 minutes, folks, it'll be live from 30 minutes until 2 hours before the actual launch, which is whatever Thursday at I think like 1 or 2 p.m. UTC. You can find all the details on Twitter, folks. Where is this Alpha Vault? How do they deposit into it?
It'll be on the LFG site. Don't worry.
So
LFG site.
Yeah.
So you can go to, I'm sure just on jupe.ag, there'll be like a little banner that people could click to as well. So in 30 minutes, go to jupe.ag. You'll be able to find that. Let's see. Any other? Will you guys have a staking option? This is a lot of people asking about staking of the Cloud token. Anything that you can say on this one, FP?
So many people are looking for a staking option. We will not have it at launch. We understand that that's important. But again, we always take our time to do things right. So it's easy for us to, I mean, it would be very easy for us to be like, okay, stake it up, lock it up, and then you get more cloud. But I don't really want to do that. I want to do something that really is different. And I think Jupiter really pioneers like actual governance, and as a result. And I think that takes time to build. I think that Jupiter is a great model. There are probably things that we can improve for sure. But like we'll take our time and we'll. Not to.
There's a lot of things we can improve. We will improve them today.
I know. I'm we talk about it all the time.
But like, I want to make governance meaningful, right? I want to make holding cloud and using cloud and staking cloud meaningful, not just like as a numbers game. Oh, I put it in, I lock it in, and I get like cloud. Like, I really like this idea of like active participation. Like, I mean, look, people are coming into this call. People are getting like really excited and angry about, about like the projects that are launching on LFG. They're voting for like who's heading the uplink group or the core working group, etc. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. So yeah, I want to do something like this. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Excellent. I think this question's been answered, but again, for anyone who missed it earlier, what happens to tokens that are forfeited from the bonus due to the early claim? Does it go back to the team, FP? Do they go into your pockets? Is that what you're doing with that?
My wallet.
It goes to his
it goes in my
wallet.
wallet. No, please. It goes back to the Sanctum community multi-sig.
Yes.
So
So there are two multi-sigs, right? There's the one that's team controlled, one that's community controlled, right? And like because the airdrop comes out, it's 40%, right? The airdrop comes out from there, right? So it's 10%, and then realistically it's going to be less because again, people are maybe like forfeiting the bonus, right? And so we'll go back and then we'll use it to reward folks going forward. Yeah.
Into the future. There we go. Okay, cool. I think we're not seeing too many new questions here. Shout out Memecoin. No questions here. I just want to say thank you for solving the LSD concentration issue. Always nice. Always nice to hear.
Holy shit.
I will
Yeah,
agree.
someone was being defense for 4 years. Like, holy shit, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Marinade and Blaze Soul and Jito and those guys, but it's more competition is better for us all. And I think more use cases is more interesting for everybody as well. I'm just kind of quickly scrolling through these questions. Maybe there's one around how long do people have to claim the airdrop? Let's say they're not near their computer or they don't have access to their wallet for a little while. Do you know how long the claim is available for?
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, take your time. Go on like a 6 month sabbatical. Go and find yourself. No problem. It's still going to be there when you come back. Yeah.
Like I said, yeah. So folks, it seems less likely now than it did a few months ago, but it's possible the gas prices spike during the initial claim window. Don't worry, you don't have to get it in the first 5 seconds. You think they will, Soju?
I mean, there's a bonus, right? If you wait, so you'll be paid to wait.
Be patient, be earnest. Those are the lessons from this call. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to give it one last look for now. I think that is. Actually, no. Sorry. Here's a very important one. When are you going to upload your battle rap sessions, FP?
Well, I've been practicing with Soju actually, and when it's ready. I think you need the whole Soju sold, and then we'll release the LP. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it. We'll launch the social later with a rap battle session on our profiles.
That I like the idea of. So, here's another one. Here's another question, FP. What will happen to the pets?
Yeah, so we actually have like a lot of like so we actually had like grand plans for the pets. We had like evolutions and stuff like that. But like the season 1 was too short, so we didn't want to. I don't know. Like honestly, I don't know. Because we have these plans, but I really want to deep dive with our head of design and figure out how season 2, like, because season 1 was great, right? It was a big improvement over existing points programs. It was like fun. People love collecting the pets and so on. My goal for season 2 is like, how can we make, season 1 look like a footnote? How can we like be 10x better than season 1? I don't have the answer yet.
Somebody who's been reading Sam Altman, I see though.
Yeah, Sam Altman, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, let's figure it out together, right? I mean, the nice thing about this is like now we can build in public, right? And if community has ideas, like put it on the forums, put it on Discord. I love to hear like, what do you want to see in season 2? Like, let me flip the question back onto you. Obviously, I have my own opinions, but I want to hear yours as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend that was a rhetorical question because there's a bunch of things that I want to see people do with the pets. I will say I only have the one. I'm a Jupe Soul only kind of guy, but so it goes.
That's right.
we have evolutions planned for these. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That'd be a lot of fun. And I think that, by the way, like I would love to see merch of those little plushies. I have a 7-month-old. I probably shouldn't say too much about my personal life on here, but in the Pudgy Penguins kind of route of having some collectibles that are out in the real world, that are plushy, that are fun, great to give away, great for families.
Help a good merch idea.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty earnest idea. I don't know.
More just. The pets on board more just than anything else.
Soju was very happy because crypto's like so many, like as you know, it's quite male dominated, and like the girls like the pets. So when Soju was talking to girls, the girls all were DMing, oh my god, the pets.
Actual true story, unfortunately.
The girl comes up to Soju at break, but she's gonna whip out a little plushie, be like, "How do you think about this?"
As long as GPT, as long as it's GPT, I'll be supportive.
All right, gents. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we start to wrap it up here?
Well, I think in 5 or 10 minutes after this call, everyone's gonna be very excited that something will drop.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say, like, I am sorry. Like, look, airdrop's not gonna make everybody happy. Like, I really tried to do things the right way, and I'm sorry if you are not happy for the airdrop, for various reasons. And I just want to say, like, if there, like, airdrop is only day 0. I hope that you will take this gift from us and hopefully decide to stay and walk with us for the journey. Because as much as we think about this airdrop as like the end, this big event, grand finale, I think in reality it's not. Right? It's really only day 0, and we have so much longer of a road to walk. And I would appreciate it, right, if everybody walks with us on their journey. Yeah.
Well, I can certainly speak for all the Cloud men in this case, and I think a lot of the Jupiter cadets as well, that we're excited to go on that journey together. Soju, any final parting words before we start to wrap up?
I'll see you guys at the LFG pitch.
Yeah. Enjoy.
All right. Well, folks, thank you all so much for coming out. If you haven't already, go follow Sanctum, go follow Jupiter, go follow FP, go follow Soju, maybe throw me a follow as well. We're super excited to have you all here. Go check out the survival guide for all the other things as the lads cheers in the background here. It's been a lot of fun going through these. Appreciate everyone in the community for coming out. It is a big launch.
Thank you all for coming out.
None of this is financial advice. Go do your own research before you make any kind of investment decisions and check it out. But within the next 20-ish minutes, the airdrop checker and the vault will be live, folks. So stay tuned for that. We'll go catch you in the Sanctum Discord or in the Jupiter Discord. All right, everybody. That is it for everyone here. We will catch you all very soon. Okay, good.
Peace.
Bye.